So tubing's important because when you start thinning in a sugar place, your cutting cycle is directly related to your tubing cycle, your tubing replacement cycle. And the fact that the rigid tubing had a shelf life of probably 10 to 12 years. So you were gonna log on a 20 to 25-year cycle. I think some of the semi-rigid tubing is better. So that cutting cycle may be 25 to 30 years, you know? And I don't think, as tree health, it's probably not a bad, it's not terrible. Some of the people I work for are pretty, like to do crop tree release. So even if they're not gonna commercially log, they're gonna work on those understory maples in a crop tree release program. Other sugar makers are just gonna do commercial work. They don't have time. The number of taps they have, they cannot go about managing that way. We, on our own property, David Marvin was a firm believer in crop tree release, pre-commercial thinning. Probably have done that on 100 acres, you know, of a 400-acre sugar place, but pretty intensively. And some of that we've done twice. And I like to take new sugar makers up there because his sister's property is right next door, and it's right at the sugar house. And you can see it was an old tapped orchard, so there's big maple like this, and on the sister's property, it's just maple thick like this. And where we've done 2 rounds of timber stand improvement, you know, we're tapping the trees that are on the sister's property that are this big, we got them to 10 to 12 inches. And that's with 2 rounds of cut and drop, which again is time sensitive. But if I take new sugar makers up there and show them that, it's a pretty good example of what can happen with some work. And I tell a lot of people, you know, we would get sent out for a week to do this. That's a luxury you may not have. But even if you go out there one afternoon a year, you're gonna better your property than you will if you do nothing.